back to the channel. Last year we did a lot of RAGBRAI content, and this year is going to be no different. This year though, I decided to do a little 4-part series. We're going to have 5 tips for virgins, RAGBRAI virgins that is. We're going to have 5 tips each video, and each one of these tips will help you a lot if you've never been on RAGBRAI, and maybe if you've been on RAGBRAI before, you'll pick up something else. So right now the schedule is going to be 1 a week for the next 4 weeks. However, I do have a real job, and yeah, I might not get them out on time. So the best way to not miss anything is to subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, and you know, then you'll know when the new content is. These tips will work for any year. Basically, maybe they won't work in the past, but if you have that as a problem, you probably got your own YouTube channel. Anyway, what we're going to do is start off with what is RAGBRAI. RAGBRAI, the R in RAGBRAI does not stand for race. I see this on forums all the time. Hey, when does the race start? How many miles is the race today? It's not a race. For some people, it probably is a race, but you know, mainly it's the party pace. It's a nice tour across the state of Iowa through the rolling countryside. Yes, rolling countryside. Iowa is not flat. Flat like a waffle. You'll find that out. Everybody that's driven through on I-80 just remembers those nice little rolling hills that go up and down and take you from the east to the west. But no, that's not the case. This year's route, in fact, is starting on the southwest corner of Iowa and going to the southeast part of Iowa, which is probably one of the more hilly areas all the way across the state. Last year's route had some hills to it, but in the middle, it kind of flattened out a little bit. So what is RAGBRAI? RAGBRAI stands for the Register's Annual Great Bicycle Ride Across Iowa, and they've been doing it for 51 years. If you want to look into the history of RAGBRAI, you never heard about what it is, and you're just stumbling on this video, do a search, and it's got a very, very cool history. So the route this year is going to start off on July 20th in Glenwood, Iowa, which is in the southwest corner, and then on July 27th, you'll all wind up in Burlington, Iowa, which is in the southeast part of Iowa. The whole route has not been announced. This is not the first tip, but I'll just put it out there. The route has been announced as far as what the overnight towns are. The actual pass-through towns, meetup towns, all those things will be listed at a later date. Now, no matter how many times you post on Facebook, RAGBRAI is not going to pick up that schedule. They're going to make sure that they have all their T's crossed and I's dotted before they list those pass-through towns, meetup towns, and that type of thing, and the route from which those, you know, go. So anyway, don't worry about it. As soon as they know, they'll put it out there. Everybody will know. Yeah, there's no really advantage to knowing what the pass-through towns are at this point in time. It's more concerned about where your overnight towns are, and those are on the web. I'll put up a picture here of the actual route as RAGBRAI's announced it. And that'll give you the, it won't give you the per day mileage or anything like that. So anyway, without further ado, here we're going to get into the first tip, which is registration. Yes, you need to register for this ride across Iowa. There's a lot of benefits to registering, and even if you're going to go 1 or 2 days, register, get a 1 or 2 day pass. I know there's people that don't register. Okay, if that's you, you probably don't need the tips either. But registration for RAGBRAI is key because you're going to get a bike band and you're going to get a wristband. Those numbers are going to match. You're also going to get a luggage tag. So what registration does, obviously, you've got now a number where if you get separated from your bike and somebody finds that they can return it to you, you can go claim it. Your luggage will be transported from the start to the finish every night, and you get SAG service. SAG service is if you have a mechanical or something like that on the road, or you get sick or injured, they'll pick you up, take you to wherever you need to go, and there you have it. they do check the wristbands. So, you know, the SAG service is pretty busy with the amount of people that go on there. People are having breakdowns, mechanical breakdowns. People are unable to finish the day's ride because of a medical condition or something like that. So basically, they've got a limited amount of space. And of course, the SAG goes out there with the amount of units for the registered amount of riders. So we can kind of see why this is an important thing to go out to register yourself as a participant in any RAGBRAI. Now to do this, you're just going to go to ragbrai.com, and that page will have registration. It'll walk you through all the steps, and you have to, if you've never done it before, you have to start an account with whatever the governing I guess you'd call it, provider of the registration service is. They don't spam you or anything. It's just so everybody's on the same page. And then you'll get updates, that sort of thing. You can post on the RAGBRAI forum, which is a great source of information. And basically, it gets you those notifications of when stuff is going out, and also when those paths through and those meetup towns and that sort of thing will be on there. Also, RAGBRAI encourages every overnight town to have their own Facebook page. So if you're on Facebook and you want to find out what there is to do in Ottumwa, and you want to find out that there's more to Ottumwa than Radar O'Reilly from MASH, go to their Facebook page and they'll tell you what's going on. And it does really help. You know, you're going to get maps mailed to you, physical maps, and you can download some GPS things too. So whatever you like, if you like that paper map, or you like to just plug it into your Garmin and go, you're not going to get lost. Just follow the several thousand people in front of you and you won't get lost. It's probably more likely that you're going to get lost in town trying to find where your tent is from where you took a shower at. So, but we'll worry about that later. So that's tip number one, is if you're going to participate, get online and register. All right. Tip number two kind of folds in a little bit to tip number one. So we talked about registration and what your registration included for your money with RAGBRAI. Now, it doesn't include getting you to the start. That's where you either have to do it yourself, have a friend drop you off. There's tons of ways to do it, but there's these things called charter services, and charter services need to have your RAGBRAI participant number in order for you to sign up on a charter. Now, nobody's got the RAGBRAI participant number right now because they haven't been issued. The RAGBRAI charter services know this. The charter services are also available online at ragbrai.com. So, you know, you've got that information at your fingertips. Everybody knows the numbers haven't been issued yet. And when they are, they'll probably, you know, send you out an email and say, hey, what's your rider number this year? So that's why you're going to do that. Now, charter services, everybody thinks of a charter service as somebody that's going to, you know, take care of you lock, stock, and barrel, and that's true. There's different levels of charter service. There are charter services that will just take you, your gear, and your bike to the start from the end. So you'll park in a Burlington, Iowa city lot. Or when I say city lot, it is a lot where the city, the ending town, has said, okay, everybody wants to park their car, can park their car here. And they usually charge for that. But your car's secure. Doesn't mean it's not going to get broken into or whatever. But your car's secure in a secure area, and you know where you're going to pick up your stuff at the end of the ride. So that's first type of charter service is just going to get you, your bike, your gear, back over to Glenwood, back over to the start, and then you go from there. The next morning, you're going to get up, take all your stuff over to the baggage truck. Baggage truck's going to go to the next town. You're going to pedal. Then you're going to find your luggage out there from the RAGBRAI baggage service. So if you do a charter where you are going to be camping with that charter service, they will set up a camp somewhere. There's usually a big sign where they'll be every day. there's usually route maps, or not, excuse me, maps. There are usually route markers. So if you're going to go with the Bike World charter, Bike World's going to have all these little signs with a BW on it and an arrow, and you just follow those signs and you will find where they've got everything set up for you and they're ready to go. Now, some of the charter services will set you up a tent, so you don't have to provide anything besides a sleeping bag. Other charter services, you can take your own stuff, you can set up your own stuff, pack up your own stuff, and you're good to go. But you've always got that camp setting that is provided by the charter services. A lot of charter services will have their own showers, so you don't have to go look for one. A lot of charter services will offer kaibos, which, for those of you not in the know, are porta potties. They will have that sort of thing right there at their site. If you go to the main campground, which is included into your RAGBRAI registration fee, yes, there's showers there. Yes, there's bathrooms there. All the stuff, food to eat, everything. But you're going to have to be a little bit more self-sufficient and figure it out yourself. Like, hey, where are we going here? Oh, we got to go 3 blocks down this way for a shower. We've got to go 2 blocks this way for food. The band's going to be somewhere else. That's it. Also, the band. Every night there's a band. Every night you get in for free with your RAGBRAI registration. Another bonus, for doing that. So that's really good. Now, there are a couple other types of charter services. There might be a local bike club from, let's just say, Illinois. They've got their people together. They're camping somewhere. They've secured the front lawn of somebody's house at the corner of 5th and Bourbon in Burlington there, and they're going to camp out that day. Cool. That's fine. Still need to be registered. Still need to have those numbers. And, that's the way those bike groups go. Now, they've got their kind of own rules, like what you can pack, how many pounds, how many bags, what the cost is. It all varies. So we're early enough in the game now. You should be able to find a group from your area that you can either start in Illinois, let's say, and ride the bus or whatever they bring you over in the whole way, or maybe you just get picked up in Burlington by another type of charter service that's just dragging you across the state. So, look into that. Charter services are all listed on ragbrai.com. That's all you got to do. You can also scan Reddit or Facebook for those RAGBRAI charter. Just type it in the search box and go for it, because there are tons of options. Having said the brief charter service overview, next thing is the bike. So this is going to be tip number 3, the bike. Now, I see every year people asking, what kind of bike? What kind of bike do I need for RAGBRAI? The bike you have is the bike you can use. Yes, sounds very simple. If you have a bike, it will make it across the state of Iowa. Make sure you take it to the bike shop. Make sure it's tuned up, ready to go, fits you and all that sort of thing. But, don't worry about it being the newest, latest, greatest bike. If you have a 1988 Schwinn Tempo, it'll go across the state fine. It did it in 1988. It'll do it this year too. It's just a matter of, what are you comfortable with? Do you like riding a recumbent? Are you on a hybrid? Do you like a gravel bike? Are you going to go classic cruiser? Are you going to do a unicycle? Are you going to ride it backwards? It sounds kind of crazy, but all these things happen on RAGBRAI. If you want to see what kind of bikes people use, just type in RAGBRAI on the YouTube machine here and watch. Don't even have to have the sound on. Just look, people ride everything. Vintage, classic, they have $10,000 e-bikes, they have something that they picked up at Walmart, or they've got something that they had hanging up in Grandpa's garage, barn, and they fixed it up, and they're going across the state on that bike. So the bike you have is the bike you will choose for RAGBRAI. Do you have to train for RAGBRAI? Well, yes. Yes, you have to train for RAGBRAI. Now, if you're an avid rider and you're riding a lot, you probably don't have to train a lot. You just kind of have to tune yourself up. Make sure that bike fits you. make sure you can do 2 80-mile days back to back after sleeping outside, you know, those types of things. Yeah. Now, here's the thing. How do I train for stuff in Iowa if I live in Arizona or if I live in Montana or New York City or whatever? You know, Coach ERTL has a great training program that's listed online. It's a mileage chart, tells you, hey, you should do this many miles this day, this many miles that day. Vary your terrain. The guy is definitely on point. And the more miles you put on before RAGBRAI starts, the easier RAGBRAI is going to be for you. Now, the thing that I will mention is RAGBRAI is going to have some hills. It is supposed to be the hilliest RAGBRAI to date. They've got 50 of them under their belt. This is going to be 51. So, you know, that's a big, big statement. It's going to be the hilliest RAGBRAI to date. Last year was the hottest and the biggest, and it was downright, people were melting. I mean, it was terrible. Just Google the temperature variation for the mid to last part of July for any years. It'll give you an idea of what your temperature, and we have humidity because we grow corn, and corn, you know, I don't know, it likes humidity. So I don't necessarily, as being a short, older, fat guy, I'm not a fan of humidity, but I'm a fan of corn because, you know, corn makes whiskey, and, well, you know the rest of the song. So that's the deal. You're going to have to train in your local area, you know, train with some friends. One of the things that you're going to want to do is maybe go on a group ride. If you've only ridden solo, find out if one of your local bike shops or local bike clubs has a group ride. Maybe they go out on Thursday night and do, you know, 25 miles of gravel, or maybe they go out and have a Saturday fun family ride. Get used to riding with people around you. It's a different experience. It's a way different experience than just hitting the trail solo. Now, although we will be on roads and not on bike paths, it's totally fine to you know, go out and get all your miles on a bike path. But I would highly suggest go drive around your area and find a couple county roads that really aren't that heavily traveled. Take your bike out there. Hey, even if you have to park on the side of the road somewhere, get your bike out, do 10 miles on the road. It's a different experience. You know, it's a different experience. You have to be a little bit more aware. I always suggest putting a flashing tail light on the back of your bike. And if you've got a headlight that will turn to strobe on the front, it just helps make you more visible to the cars that are out on the road. Do they hate that you're on the road? Probably. But, you know, let's try and make it as safe as we can for everybody involved. So yes, you're going to train. And don't worry about if the day you're training it's super hot. Guess what? That's going to be one of the days of RAGBRAI. Oh, is it raining? Is the wind going 45 miles an hour? Yeah. Okay, get out there and train. You know, don't take the day off because the weather's bad, because even though you've registered and paid your registration fee, doesn't mean you get perfect weather. And ask anybody that's gone on a RAGBRAI. You're not going to get perfect weather. It's going to be hot, muggy. It's going to be miserable. It's type A fun. I was standing in line at a Casey's waiting to pay for my stuff. And there was a guy from Phoenix that I had the opportunity to talk to. And he said, man, it's no joke here with the humidity. He said, I ride at 100 or 103 all the time in the Phoenix, Tucson area, and it's not this bad. And that made a huge impact on me. I was like, really? I would think it'd be terrible. But it's a dry heat. Our heat is dripping on you. So, yeah, you got that to look for. So train. Go out. Get in a group for a couple rides. Follow coaches' recommendations. He's been doing this for a long, long time, and he's got some great tips. So take advantage of his knowledge. So when should you start your training? That depends a lot on where you live. I mean, let's face it, you know, here in Iowa, we're still getting rain and snow and all that sort of thing at the timing of this video. So basically, think about it this way. as soon as you can safely get on your road, on your bike path, whatever you're doing, get out there. Even if it's just a couple of shakedown rides. Get that oil on the chain, get the bike cleaned up, make sure the tires are ready to go, and even run it into your local bike shop. I mean, your local bike shop is a wealth of information of how your bike needs to be set up. Hey, your seat's too low. You ever think of tipping the handlebars back a little bit more? The suggestions are endless, and they want you to go out and have a good time on your bike, because that means you're going to come back to them and get a nicer bike. And it's a vicious circle after that. But anyway, says the guy with like 14 bikes in the basement here. Anyway, so definitely start as soon as you can. If you live in Louisiana, you're probably able to get out there now. If you live in upper Washington State, where they still have snow, yeah, you might want to wait a little bit. But definitely get out there and train. Follow coach's advice, and you'll have a great RAGBRAI. Tip number 5. Definition of terms. This is where people get confused the most, I believe. It's been my experience from reading the forums for years about terms. Now, one of the favorite questions I saw posted was, is the overnight town the start town for the next day? Yes, Virginia, it is. Because not everybody gets up in the middle of the freaking night and moves their tent to the start town the next day. So where you sleep at will be where you'll wake up at, and you will leave the next day. So yeah, not exactly a definition of a term, but it's just kind of one of those crazy questions that gets asked. Okay, so here are the terms. Pass-through town. Pass-through town is the town between the overnight towns. Now, there are many pass-through towns on any given day. It's a smaller town. They will have food and beverage and bands, and the high school kids will be out there selling pie. The church is open, all that sort of thing. Stop by every one of these pass-through towns, because you know what? This is the most people they'll ever have in their little town. They might have a town of 600 people, and then here's 10,000 bicyclists riding through. It's quite a sight for them. They want to put on a good show, and definitely they're going to have places for you to eat. There'll be bathrooms. They'll be traveling bike mechanics, all that sort of thing. So you'll be set. But pass-through town is every town on the route that you're just passing through, not really stopping, and there are amenities there for you to take advantage of. Next term is the meetup town. The meetup town is usually towards the center of the ride for that day. So the meetup town is great if you've got people that you're meeting with. So say you've got a support crew that you're riding with. The meetup town is where you're going to want to meet them. They're going to have your lunch cooked or whatever they're doing for you guys. And, maybe you need to swap out a bike. Maybe you need to, get yourself to the end of the ride because you're just not wanting to go any farther. That's where you want to meet up at, is the meetup town. Once again, all these terms are geared towards RAGBRAI virgins. So we've got the pass-through town. Then we have the meetup town. The meetup town is a pass-through town, but there's usually more amenities there. There's better places for the support trucks and stuff like that to stop. Don't get me wrong, you're not going to get your luggage halfway through. Your luggage is going to be at the end town. But you'll have a lot more amenities there to stop and take part in. But you'll have in the meetup town a lot better infrastructure, for you to connect with your other folks you're riding with, your support crew. Maybe you just say, hey, I want to meet up at the Casey's in this meetup town. So then all your crew, if you get stretched out for 10, 12 miles, everybody's there. They can regroup, focus, have some lunch, go again. All right, so that is the meetup town. Overnight town. Seems pretty self-explanatory, but this is a town where you will camp at overnight. And yes, the overnight town will be the start town for the next day. So this is where you're going to ride into, and if you're in the main group or in the main camping area, you are going to follow the signs for the main camp. And then if you're with a charter or charter service or a team, you're going to want to follow their signs. Now, if you really get lost going through these overnight towns, RAGBRAI has got people set up in different, what I would say, major traffic corners. And you can stop and you say, hey, where is the Greater Iowa Charter? Where's Pork Bellies? You know, that type of thing. And they will direct you as such. They also know where the showers are and things of that nature. So those people always have a great amount of knowledge. If you need something fixed on your bike, they can tell you, yeah, most of the bike mechanics are set up over on 3rd Street. To get to 3rd Street, you're going to go down here, take a left, blah, 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 and they'll get you where you need to be. So don't forget, in that overnight town, there will be a lot of RAGBRAI folks to tell you, you know, where you're going to go. So keep that in mind, and again, you'll have a successful RAGBRAI. SAG service. Okay, here's the big one. You can't make it. You fall behind, you're not feeling good, your bike's not working right, 100 excuses, you're not going to be able to make it. SAG service is your new best friend. You're going to park your bike on the opposite side of the road. So mainly you're riding right. This would be on the shoulder of the oncoming traffic, which there's usually not a lot of. But that's where the SAG vehicles drive, and they will see your bike. You'll turn it upside down, so your handlebars will be down, tires will be up, and they will know that you need their help. And they will stop, and they'll get you a place to sit in the van. They'll put your bike on the trailer, and they'll get you on down the road. So they will check for that registration. So make sure you register. You know, I don't know if you don't have your registration with you, what they actually do, because I've always had my registration with me when I needed SAG. There's also a cutoff time for SAG service for each individual town. That will be posted in the information that you get later. So nobody's going to know what it is right now, so don't worry about it. Just know that when you get your packet of information and you have your map for the day, your paper map for the day, you will have the service ending time for each one of those little towns. So you've got to be to this town by 3:30, or you're finding your own way to the overnight town. So just so we have that, everybody that understands, raise your hand. Good, thank you, appreciate it. And yeah, that's it. So that is the SAG service, what that means. Here's a couple other freebies I'll just throw in. You'll hear the term self-supported. Self-supported is that you are doing this yourself. You are taking all your stuff with you. You are finding your own place to camp. You're going and knocking on somebody's door. Hey, you mind if I put my tent up here? You're in a city park. Maybe you camp in the regular, the big main campground. Doesn't matter. But the thing is, all your stuff is on your bike. Everything that you need for the week is on your bike. All your clothing, your tent, your bike repair stuff, a chair, whatever you bring for comfort. These people are also called baggers. And baggers have everything they need, including usually refreshments, that are somehow kept icy cold on their bike the whole day, and they never run out of refreshments. Baggers are pretty cool people. So if you see one, strike up a conversation. You might get one of those free beers that they have in their bags. So that's the self-supported part. Self-supported means you're a registered rider, but you're not going to the baggage truck every morning. You got all your stuff with you, and there you have it. Pretty easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Here's my favorite term. Nobody knows what the hell it is. KYBO. K-Y-B-O. Now, you'll hear this term on RAGBRAI all the time. KYBOs are referred to the porta potty, Johnny on the spot, whatever you call it, in your part of the world. For some reason, they're named KYBO here, and legend has it that KIBO was originally the acronym for Keep Your Bowels Open. And it was in a Des Moines Register article way back in the day, and it just kind of stuck. So yeah, if people say, hey, where's the local KIBO? They are still speaking English. You just need to know that that means bathroom. And there will be bathrooms all over the place. There's also these cornfields too that you can go in between towns. They're not marked. They're always unisex. And watch where you step, basically, because, you know, yeah, well, I don't have to get into that. So anyway, moving right along. There you have it, my friends. Those are the first 5 tips of this series. Once again, there's going to be a total of 20 tips. So that means there's, doing the math here, 3 more videos like this that will have more tips for virgins. If you like this type of content and you don't want to miss any of these tips, please like and subscribe, hit the notification bell, and somewhere here on the end I will put up our playlist from last year. Highly encourage you to go take a look at that. Put a lot of effort into that last year and really had a lot of good comments and things like that. So until next time, thanks for watching. Get out there and take care of your dash. We'll see you on the trail. This other stuff until then. It should be pretty good. I mean, I've seen most of it. It's decent.